Welcome to Trading Lounge and the European Indices for Wednesday, February the 23rd. So with the DAX here, we were looking for a retracement down to roughly where the current low is there. Let's just have a little closer look at that. So it was roughly around the 14.4 area there, just get that on there, and that to there somewhere. So the 38.2% retracement level at that point. So it's kind of, well, it's reached there, hasn't it? So that's good. But the thing with wave fours is that they can go, more sideways. So we could end up with, we could end up with a larger triangle pattern here, really. But obviously the closest largest number is the 15,000. So we could say that we could look to be bullish if we get a nice support on that 15,000, because if it's going to fail, it's going to hit that 15,000 and then drop from that point. So we'd been observing the stochastics on the weekly. They were coming down, to nice lows. Obviously they're lagging, so it'll take a few bars for them to turn and all those sorts of things. But look, it's possible to have that wave 4 in low there. On the daily chart, as you know, I've been looking at different counts for this market, and this is kind of one of my favorites, really. There's a few little things wrong with it, and I know that you can pick holes in it, and that's okay. But it's whichever way we go with this. I mean, from my point of view, is that I put a lot of when I don't know the wave count, I put a lot of emphasis on the price, and when I talk about the price, I talk about it in terms of the trading levels. And but even so, if you don't even talk about the trading level, you'd have to talk about the 15,000 here, and you would have to say that, well, if the market was going to fail, then it would retest the 15,000 and then drop from that point. So that's kind of where we are in a way, really. The other point is that we've only had one bar up here, and we basically need to see a nice impulse wave there, and most of the time when a market starts its trend in something like this, well, there's just equal weight to be a corrective rally or an impulsive move as well. So we need to gather a fair bit of evidence for a move up. So look, all I can say is, yes, it's pulled back to its 38.2%. It's possible that we can have a wave 4 low in place. But we need a few things now. We either need to see we'll pull it apart in a moment and see what we've actually got here to some point. But as I mentioned, it will take a little while to establish, just to see if we get an impulse wave, or we get support here. One of the either 5 waves up or getting support on the 15,000 would turn me bullish. But getting 5 waves up here, then we're not going to miss anything, because if it pulls back, if we get 5 here, it's going to pull back 50 or 60%, and then we can just jump on the bus, basically, based on the impulse wave here. Because if you get 5 waves in the opposite direction of the trend, get 5 waves up here, then we'll get another 5 up here. So that's where we can look to go. But yeah, I mean, this can easily just fail from here and turn into a bigger bear market. I mean, we've got that. I don't know where we're up to with the Putin playing poker, but yeah. So it's that, really. Let's cruise in and have a look. Like I said, this can be counted in different ways. Not that sort of fussed about it. Yesterday we looked at a slightly different variation of that, but we're still there. So let's just go to the tick chart, the 100 ticks, and let's just see what we've got so far with all of this. Okay, well, that's plenty, isn't it? So okay, I haven't really updated this, but that's okay. So I was counting down. It's a bit of a long journey here, a bit of a long shot as well, but I was looking at this as 1 and 2 here, and then all the way for 3, 4, and 5 for 1 and 2, and then 3, 4, and 5 here. So it looks like I was a wave away. I can see the errors of my ways, but anyway, we'll just plonk that there. So what have we got here? We could look at this as I'm just eyeballing it straight up as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, a little bit sort of short, and we probably need to do a bit of work into that. But it is a start, and it has pulled back to its 50-60%, but it still doesn't, that means diddly squat really at this point, because this can also just be an A wave here. I mean, sure, it can be an impulse wave. I'll just leave that like that then. And a B wave here, and a C wave that would finish. It looks like we've got probably wave 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Oh, that could also be wave 1 and 2 there. We'll just have to open that up and have a little look. Yeah, it looks like 1 and 2 here. I suppose we could look at that as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for that, I suppose. Let me just get a grip. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that's diminishing. So that's 5. So, yeah, where does that leave us? Might have to have a closer look at that again. But what I could say, what I can say with a little bit of confidence is that any move under that, and then you can be short at that point. But I can't get you long at this stage. But let's just imagine for a moment that this is wave 1 up here and 2 here. Well, wave 3 would need to be, well, at least as long as that, if not longer. So we'd put that there. So this is still sort of building at that point. And obviously it would hit the 15,000 there as well, and it would have a reaction. And then we'd need to see that up there. And then we get, now we're getting like a classic trading levels pattern at that point. We can go long from that point, or we can go long here, but we need that impulse wave, like I was saying, because it could just be an A and a B and a C wave to here, and then fail at that point and come further on down here. This is probably wave 1 and 2 in here, I think. Looking at the behavior of this here, that's kind of the same here. So it's probably 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5 to come up to here somewhere. So I'm afraid we just have to continue to wait, even though, I mean, you can go long, but you could just leave the stop under here as well. The stop would need to be under here for that too, whatever you did at that point. But I think that if we look at this as 1 and 2 and then 3, 4, 5 up here, then this will be our buying area down in here. This would be this is where it would comfortably pick it up, just on this here. And that could pull back, 50-60%, just sort of, I'm just keeping it on the 8 there because it's kind of likely, but we may get it a bit lower down here for that, that's possible at that point. Depends on where that high is there, so I won't fill in the dots at that point. So, yeah, I mean, we've all got opinions, because, I mean, I'm not even in Europe, and there's a lot going on there, and so I suppose I don't have fear over the situation because I'm not there, so maybe I see it a little bit more sort of, a bit more practical and saying there's possible low in there, but but folks that are close to the situation wouldn't say that's the case at all, and I understand that. So all I can say is that we were looking for that target area here, 14,400 roughly. I never really got the exact price, but doesn't really matter. I'm a bit of a 10 mil rule sort of guy, which in building, which I've been doing a lot of renovation on my wooden home, and the other one and whatnot is that you can just be 10 mil out with when doing the building. So they call it the 10 mil rule. So yeah, but all I can say is that we need support on that 15,000 there for that. And this would be the same for the stock 50 as well. So for the stock 50, so we're also counting down here as well for this. So it's a bit weird I got that extra one in there, isn't it? How come I missed that? Bit weird, but anyway, I'll leave myself scratching my head about that. So I don't know if that's a wave 4 in there yet. Do you know what I mean? All I was doing is counting down, and it looks like we've got a nicer look. If I just look at this here as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, that looks quite good to me. Do you know? So that's a bit of an and this in this case, I'd probably rather trade this long because I got the 4,000 there as a bit of a, you know, as a price point, because it obviously, you know, carries weight. So really, you could look for a little classic trading levels pattern here. We got half a one here. We got the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, right? But we never got the little ABC and then going up again here. But you may get it here. So that could be. So we're looking really for this pattern here. So where are we now with that? We've just got we're just at. I wonder if no, I'd rather call that there. What have we got here? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 and 2, probably 3. Yeah, it could be. Also could be an A and a B here. But so we really want that support there. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it looks like a 1 and 2 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look, you could do a little small trade coming off the top here for that. But what I mean, if I had to do it, I'd be looking for that. And then what I would do. So just use this here, and obviously we've got group 2 here, which is 80, 65, 72 in there, but I would try to look to build in, like if you get a little classic trading levels pattern in here, then I would build on that, you know, and then I'll do the same here as well. Sometimes you get a nice picture, sometimes you don't. And really, at the end of the day, it's check out where the DAX is at the 15,000, of course. But you'd want that. You'd want, you know, this is the one that you'd want here for that. But you can build in on these little highs. So this first position here, if you normally trade 10 contracts, it could just be 2 contracts or 1 contract. It doesn't have to be a big deal. I wonder if that's all part of that. So I wonder if that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 to there. So in that case, we could get a larger correction back again. Could pull back to here and still be bullish. That's what I'm just trying to sort of figure out at that point. But yeah, buying new highs on big numbers that's the way forward. But just make it really small. So let's just not chuck the house at it. Let's just chuck one of the kids at it. Okay, so I'll leave that at that, and that brings us to the FTSE. So there's a couple of ways we were looking at all this, and I've swapped and change and all the rest of it, but we were looking for the stochastics to come to the daily chart here, and we were looking for this to cross over, so it's looking good. I'm just going to go into, just have a look at this first. I think I did something here. Okay, yeah, right. Okay, we can talk here then, that's okay. So this is the current top, right, which can be, I mean, I originally had a wave 1 and a wave 2 here, so we'll just run with this for a moment, and it certainly may not be the case. So we were looking for an A and a B and a C wave down here, and then we were looking for 5 waves, and I can see we got 5 waves here. Okay, looks like we've also got 5 waves here as well, but it's hit the 50-60% retracement level area. I want to talk about that in a moment. So if I was counting this down here, I'd count this as 1 and 2 here, and then down for 3 here, and then an A and a B and a C for 4, and then down. So that's how I'd count it. And there is a bit of an overlap over here. That is a bit of an issue. Let me just see what I've got on the 100 ticks here rather than that. Okay, same sort of story here. I'll just go here because I want to have a look inside here. So I'm going to plonk that there, and plonk that there, and that there, and that there. And so we can look at that as 5 waves. A little bit dodgy, but I just wanted to have a little look in here. It's possible that it's 5 waves. The length is in the first wave here, and then the third wave's a bit smaller, and then this one here. And it's like the others, it's pulled back into its 50-60%. So we could go long above that, pull back nicely into that box. I'll put that there. Just tell me that we don't need to look at that again tomorrow or whenever. So we got the 7.5 there. What I like doing when I've got corrections, I like to know where the balance is. So with the balance, it's going to be pretty close to the 7.5 anyway. So if we just, this is just a simple little trick. Well, it's not really a trick at all. But we just take that high and low there, and there's the 50%. So we just put a line through there, and then we get rid of that. We'll just get rid of that for a moment. Then just have a look at that. So we can see here that it's pretty important. So normally I use the 7,500, and 5 being the 7 doesn't mean anything to me. It's just the 5. So that way we could say if we get support on top of that 5, but understanding the balance point is at 75 something or other. 75.23, on the top there would be 30, so that's group 1. So we'll come back here again to the 75, and I'll plonk that there, and I'll just give that a bit of definition. So I'm just trying to find a way in that's going to be sort of safe, so I need to build a case. So we'll just drop, we know the balance is at close to the 20, and it's the 30 there. So as always, if you know the trading levels a little bit, then that 30 is really important. That's, and then we've got 10 here. So this one here, let me just check on both cases. That's at the 61.8% there. So that it is what it is at that point. And then we've got this point here, and that takes us higher at that stage. So I just want to be, I want to take everything on board at that point. So I just want to find out, because we've got to be careful about going long into the point where it can turn. So this could be an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave coming up to here and fail. So that's the downside of everything, right? If that's 5 waves there, then after a correction we should get another 5, but it could just take us to that point. But we know that being above the 75.20 is being, so if we got, see how it didn't get support here? It tried but didn't get it. So if it got support there this time around, that would be a really good sign that the market is strong at that point. But if it fails to get it at these old highs here, then you know that we're doomed at that point. And this could also be 5 waves down too, in terms of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here. So this could just drop from here, and that's okay, because we're just looking for long trades at the moment, So what we could say, just using, we know that the 75.20 is important. So if we got a classic trading levels pattern on top of the 75.30, then we can look to go long at that point. That would be, and that would include the 20 at that point. So that's what we would need to go long. And you might think that we're missing a lot, but it's like the DAX and the Stock 50 and probably the S&P and all the rest of it. They can all fail. But just looking, and there's a good reason for, obviously the logical reason is to be on the bearish side of the market. And I'm looking on the other side, so you could say I'm looking on the wrong side. But I think it's important to have somebody looking on the wrong side just in case they're right, So, yeah. So, to be bullish, nailing it all down, we know the 500 is important. We know that on just refining it further, the 75.20 is extra important because of the balance line of the whole correction. And then normally we would be going long on 75.30 on top of group 1. So that would be the safe trade. So anything under the safe trade would be at risk, so you know that you're at risk at that point. And is there any way of looking at this as being 5 waves down through to here and look at this as an ABC? Probably. Probably we could do something of that nature. We could probably look at it's a bit of, I can see it, but it's you'd have a right to throw something at me at that point, and even though I'd have the right to dodge it, I'd probably have to take it on the chin, I think. So I'd be forcing 5 waves in this move here, but it doesn't mean that that it still can't go down further. So we'll just leave it at that for the time being. Everything's sort of holding up okay here, just based on the sentiment of the Eurozone and the Eastern Bloc and so on. Things are at risk and don't really have a good impulse wave up here, as nice as the other guys, so we have to be a little bit careful. And we can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, so that's important. But we can also count 5 waves up here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4 to this point here, and then 5. So that would be an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave in there, and then 5. A little bit short, but that's okay. It's all okay really for an impulse wave. But I'm not seeing it over this side just yet. So anyway, I won't waffle on any further. Okay, so for the Euro US dollar here, we were looking at the stochastics pulling back down here, so we were thinking that we can pull up here. So we're thinking that we're as an A, B, C, D, and E here, and this is a monthly chart, and this is the US dollar index here, and we can also look at this at the same as well as a triangle pattern as an A, B, C, D, and coming down for an E. So while the euro is going up, we can expect this to come down. Now, is that true or not? Well, I don't know. I mean, if we go back to not the beginning, but this low here that's significant, right? We can look at this here as an A wave, a B wave, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here for the C wave. And then we could look at this as down for 1, back for 2, down for 1, back for 2, and then come way down, come make new lows again, or something down here, So that's possible. Because that looks a little bit like 5 waves here. That's corrective. This here can be forced as 5 waves as well. So it's possible. We could also look at this as an A and a B and a C wave here, and then also moving up here, because I can count this as bullish as well here. So there's a fair bit going on with all of this, and that's why I just really wanted to play with the intraday time frame here. I mean, from this high here down to this point here, it appears to be in 5 waves, and it's pulled back. This bar here is the 61.8%. We can work with the 10,000 at this point. So trading level 1, and 1's the strongest number. So basically it's come down here, chomp back up, come back up here and touched it nicely. So to me, this is resistance here. If I got a classic trading levels pattern on this level here, well then we would be, if that was the 10,000 and we got this here, then definitely I'd be long over here. But I don't have that. I'm under the level, so it could be just the arrival, the ABC for the reaction, and then the first high above the level, and then an ABC, and then we can go up. But we're way off that as well here. So it's really, you know, it can play out in different ways. We could look at this as wave 1 here and 2 here, and then wave 1 here and A, B, C here for wave 2 here, and then building further up here. You know, there's different ways to see this, and they're all sort of okay far as I can see. This low here, this first little move up here appears to be corrective. So that's why I would put weight on this being a D wave or wave 2 and then coming down here further. So when we go to the euro over here, this D wave here and going up for the E wave here, there's a pretty good case for that. Don't have a clear 5 waves down here. I mean, if we made another move down, let's just say that we made another move down, then we would have 5 waves down. Then that would create a different story as well. So it's kind of where we are. So if I look at this on the daily chart, day. So we've got this B, C, D and E wave here, and then in the E wave I was looking for an A wave, a B wave and a C wave up here. There's a long way for that to go up there, and it may not be that smooth. We may just get like an A wave to here, like an A, B, C for the A wave here, and then a B wave here, and then a C wave up here. So I don't know that either yet, you know. So there's a few things to be going on here. We'd been looking for this to pull back. It's a little bit scruffy. You can see it bouncing there, but you can see the stochastics also sort of lining up and suggesting that we could move up from there. And we know the number 3 here, which is the top of group 1, we know that that's strong at this point. You know, the market's come down here, you know, swung across it a few times. Has it finally landed on that? And this is the telling us that we're moving here. So we are looking for long trades on this side. So based on that and the confusion in the bigger picture, let's just go into the 100 ticks and check on this. So get a bit more data. Is 20 enough? Yeah, okay, so let's just get a bit of a grip on this. So so we've got our A wave up here, so you know that from the low over here. And then I was looking for the B wave, and it's getting a little bit sort of, I mean, it's maturing. And that's the thing, when you're in B waves, sometimes they're simple and sometimes they're complex. They're like wave 4s. Or the 11 or 12 different types of corrections can happen in wave 4 or wave B. And we're talking triangles and double zigzags and triple zigzags and all sorts of things that annoy us more than flies. So this move down through here, we've got that as the A wave, and we haven't been trapped in here. We haven't had any trades in here. We haven't been caught out in here. We've just sort of recognised that there's a problem and an issue here. And it's the same for the dollar index on its tick chart as well. But what I'm thinking is that if we've got the wave A here, this is the 50-60% retracement level. We've kind of come down quite deep to start with, and I thought, oh, we could just go straight up from that point. But it's played out in more of a complex way and given a more balanced B wave in all of this. So the question now is it finished? Do we have this as an A wave here, a B wave here, and a C wave here? Because, I mean, I can count 5 waves in here as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here. So is that finished? Or do I need to look at that as just wave 1 here and wave 2 here, and then I need 3, 4 and 5 to come down here to put wave C of B over here, a bit deeper than this? Or is it finished and we're just going to go straight up from here? There's a bit of a case for 5 waves in terms of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here. So I'm thinking that, well, I don't have all the answers as an analyst, but maybe as a trader, I think that I know that number there, the 5, 1.35, 1.135. So that's the midpoint, halfway between the 13 and the 14. So I know it's got some weight here. So if it goes up through here, then I think that we should be long at that point, because from that top to the bottom here, this box here is the 50-60%. But the trick is not to go too early, because the market can go back up to here and then drop from that point, you know, and give us this third wave down here that we're looking for. So I don't know that at this point. So I think a small position here would be okay. We don't need to do a full position, so I'll just give it a thin green line. And then if it moves up further, then look to add again, you know. And then you can also, like this number 5 here, when you go long here, it's not really just taking out that there. You want to be looking for a little classic trading levels pattern within that space. So you'll see the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level. That's all you need. And that top there at that point, there may be a second high if you can see it, and so on, you know. Like that's a high and that's the second high. You might get that there, and you can go from that point, and that would sort of refine what you're doing here a little bit further. I mean, counting this down through here is a little bit messy, so I'm not going to bother about that. And yeah, it can certainly come down further, but if it's going to go up and we're looking at that, well then we want to be on that side of the market, and that's what we've been trying to do. So just coming back to the daily chart here to get a bit of perspective on that again, what we're trying to do is, we've had this impulse wave here, we've had a corrective wave, it's been a little bit messy, I'm not quite sure if it's finished or not, but if we buy new highs, you know, the weekly suggesting it, the daily suggesting it, so we're not far wrong. If we just have a small position and then look to build in through here, we should get the same length, this length here, we should at least get the same length over here for this. Anyway, that's what I'm thinking. So I'll leave it all at that. So thanks for tuning in. Cheers.